Welcome to our creative writing online course. I'm Abigail Green, and I wanted to film a video, first of all, to just welcome you. I'm excited you're here, but also to do a quick run through of what our Blackboard page looks like so that you get just as comfortable as you would if you were in a face-to-face course. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time. We'll go ahead and get to it. We're going to start at the top where our Start Here folder is. It's exactly what it sounds like. So a lot of this content is the same as your other online courses. So formats, so a little bit about me, how to navigate. You do have your introductory discussion board that you should complete there. And then you've also got my office hours, which are posted in here. You are more than welcome to come by and see me anytime. I know it's an online class, but you're welcome to stop by in person. Although, of course, you can also call or email. You will find the information for that just below in our course syllabus. I'm not going to run through this whole thing. I know a lot of it is the same as all of your other courses, but of course you should take the time to read through your syllabi. So there's me, there's my office phone number. You're welcome to call it. If I'm in here, I'll answer it. If not, be sure you leave a voicemail with a callback number. Otherwise, the phone doesn't give me that information. And I won't be able to call you back. So below that is my email. Pretty easy. Be sure that you are using your Callie email to reach out to me. Otherwise, sometimes it goes to spam. I know that you can have Blackboard messages too, but they're really finicky from my perspective. So if you're going to use Blackboard messages, at least check that little box at the bottom so that it shoots me an email. But I do prefer email. I am typically faster at that. It's always open if I'm in the office. So I respond to email Monday through Friday during my office hours. In between classes and sometimes in classes if I have students who are busy writing and I'm supposed to be quiet. Below that, we've got, again, some stuff that's in all of your syllabi. This is our textbook. We will use it a lot. So if you don't have it yet, be sure that you go grab it. And I do have the link to the bookstore there. This course is online, of course, so be prepared for that. And instead of reading this, I just want to say that you can think of this creative writing class as kind of a sampler platter of a bunch of different forms of creative writing. So we're going to be doing some prose, some short stories, some short nonfiction, some poetry, some children's lit, some drama. We're going to kind of sample everything. And that will hopefully feel fun in the creative freedom you're going to have in the beauty of experimentation, but also might give you insight into what you are interested in exploring in the future. So below that, we have our plagiarism and AI policy. That is an important policy. I do have the academic code of conduct there. But all I really want to say in this class is that it would be very silly to use AI or to cheat in any other way. So don't do that. Below that, we have some of my policies, as well as some things that I'm going to do. I do want to point out for your larger assignments, I do want you to use Microsoft Word, including when we do our critique weeks, our workshopping. That way they're very easy to open and leave comments on. That's why that one is important to me. For something like a discussion board or that sort of thing, don't worry about it. But for our more formal, here I'm turning in all my lesson assignments. I do want a Word doc. Below that, of course, log in, do some work. If we are workshopping, your work cannot be late. Otherwise, you cannot achieve workshopping. So no late work for that, and then no late work during finals week for sure. If work is continuously late, then I will create like a for sure policy of okay, I'm not taking anything else late. But I do try to be flexible. I know life happens. I know especially with online courses, it can be a bit odd. So turn stuff in preferably on time, uh, and then keep in mind those asterisks. So below this, that all makes sense. I do want to point out that I think it's best to work on your proofing and editing as we go. So taking the time to pause and go back if you feel like, oh, well, I finished that unit really quickly. Go back and work on some editing or work on that editing during workshop weeks. Don't just read other people's stuff. Go ahead and continue working on your own. That way you're not getting to the end of the semester when I'm asking you to polish and put everything together and you go, oh, I've got so much editing to do. So try to space that out for yourself. I do have how our points are broken down here. So your writing assignments are worth 40% of the course, workshopping is worth 20%, and then your final project is worth 40% as well. Grading scale, it's the average one, I think. We're going to have assignments, we're going to have discussions via discussion boards in our course. And then your final exam is a bit of a funny situation because you have your final portfolio project. That's your final exam for the class, but you will have a small final that I will give you during finals week. There is some extra credit in lesson 7, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And if there's any other extra credit opportunity, I will let everyone know. Below that, again, most of this is the same as your other classes, so I'm going to scroll through it to not make this video hours long and show you that our course schedule is at the bottom. So, right here, I guess the last thing I want to point out on your syllabus is just that the Writer's Corner and Showcase for this semester is on November 17th. Starts at 5:30. You can find that info also in Callie's event calendar. Since this is an online course, you are not required to attend that event, but you are more than welcome to attend that event. And I'll send out more info as the dates get closer. So backing out, below the syllabus, you have your course acceptance acknowledgement. Just like all your other classes, be sure you complete that so that you can open your first unit. And then we have our actual coursework. So I have it in reverse order so that while you're really motivated, you scroll all the way to the bottom. Below that, we have our institutional resources, including that Callie Helpful Link stock, just like all of your other Blackboard courses. And then finally, last thing I want to look at is lesson 1. So all of your lesson modules will look the same. In between, we have some critique modules. They look a little bit different, but once you get used to my style, it'll feel very similar. So that lesson 1 module you can see is dated from the 24th to the 7th. So some of these lessons are a week long, some of them are 2 or even 3. So be sure to pay attention to that because that will impact your due dates in those lessons. So this one, you've just got to complete that CAA and it will open. The other ones will open the Friday before they begin. So I'm trying to give you a little extra time to preview or to work ahead if that's your desire. So lesson 1, when we open it, has our to-dos and then your assignments, just like all of the other lessons will. So here you can see we've got a syllabus quiz that's due on the 31st. You got your lesson 1 discussion, where your initial post is due on the 31st and your replies are due on the 7th, and then your lesson 1 assignments, which are due on the 7th. So I'm going to open the to-do list, which again is going to look the same as all of your other lesson to-do lists. So in this lesson, you're going to complete the following. If it is a thing that is due, you've got to turn it in, then I've got the due dates in bold next to it. So the course acceptance acknowledgement technically doesn't have a due date, but you've got to finish it in order to access the rest of the course. And then I've got all of your readings here. And then you'll notice we have writing assignment A, B, C, and D. All 4 of these assignments together are what make up lesson 1. So you will do all of those however you wish, whether you write by hand, whether you type them separately, if they're in the notes up on your phone. And then for the end of the lesson, you will take all of them, you will compile them in a single Word document, and you will submit them as your lesson 1 assignments. So I've given you a couple weeks to do all of this. You need to space those writing assignments out yourself, right? Don't wait until the end to do them all, especially once we get into writing some larger things. But then you're going to combine them all because they're all for 1 grade for lesson 1. Below that, we have our syllabus quiz. It's what you think it is. And then we have our lesson 1 discussion. So all of our discussions will have a post date and a replies date when they are due. They shouldn't be terrible. They should be hopefully fun, kind of, at least sometimes. And I do have a rubric for those listed. And then we have the Dropbox for your lesson 1 assignments, where you will just attach that Word document. So each lesson will look just like that. I try to offer you consistency as much as I can in this course. And then when we get to critiquing, we'll have fun, we'll read other people's stuff. That'll be a really good time. So that is what our course looks like. I think that was a pretty well-timed run through. But if you have any questions or if there's something that I didn't cover, I really mean it. Reach out anytime. I'm more than happy to help because I'm really happy to have you here. Have a great semester.